First fight up in the middleweight division between Damian Pinas coming in at minus 260, going up against Wes Schultz, who comes in at plus 220. Now, starting off on the Damian side of things here, he is riding a 4-fight winning streak, although the one loss in his career came by DQ due to an illegal upkick that he landed. Since that DQ loss, he's been streaking, and obviously the biggest win of his career came last time around, where he took just about 100 seconds to finish Vitor Costa to earn his contract to the UFC through the Contender series. That night, Costa tried utilizing a high volume, high output style to keep Pinas at bay. However, Damian eventually landed that big shot, that 1-2 jab cross down the pipe, and it was a walk-off KO for the Surinamese fighter. He actually, born in Suriname, trains out of Aruba, but has been changing things up in training at the PI and trying to get as many looks as possible. But his athleticism and power obviously makes him a very tough customer to deal with. He's only 23 years old as well, so he is still a raw product in a sense, but his athleticism and power, like I said, will aid him in a lot of his early victories, probably even getting him close to the ranking position, maybe the top 15 ranking within his first couple fights, if he can continue to get off on his big power striking. His grappling is slowly coming along as well. He's shown some decent defense through some of the fights I've been seeing as of late, but in terms of ranking, he is a BJJ blue belt, which he earned just about a week after he had earned his UFC contract in September of this past year. Now, he's going up against a tough grappler here in Wes Schultz, who earned his contract as well on the same season of the Contender series, where he took about 2 minutes to find that Sulaev stretch against Mario Mingaj. Beautiful performance there for him. He kept the pressure on him, hurt Mingaj pretty much from jump, and then eventually started smothering him with his usual grappling approach. And from there, he was able to sink in the submission to force the tap from his Italian opponent. That was the second shot on the Contender series that Schultz got after giving us a spirited effort against Mansour Abdul Malik. He nearly finished Abdul Malik near the beginning of the second round, but unfortunately emptied his gas tank and ended up giving up a big position to Abdul Malik, who was able to get that TKO win. Schultz did have to go back to the regional scene to earn his way back to the Contender series, but this is a guy that deserves to be in the UFC, but his lack of athleticism will probably keep him away from the rankings, or at least getting to a position where he can fight for a title. He is a all-action, forward-moving fighter that loves to take opponents to the ground, smother them with his grappling, and eventually either break them with his pace to get that TKO finish, or eventually find a submission and force the tap that way. He also trains at a Pura Vida BJJ out of Wisconsin. This is a tough matchup to really break down in terms of who's going to be successful with their style. Obviously, you see Pinas with that big power that he brings to the table, and Schultz going to be looking to smother him and drown him with his grappling. Unfortunately for Schultz, I expect the Arubian or Surinamese fighter, I don't know what you want to categorize him as, and yes, I am trying to avoid saying his last name because it's just going to make me chuckle anytime I try to say it, but still, Damian should go out there, land that big power to put Schultz away, but at minus 260, it's a little bit tricky, right? If Schultz can roll with a couple of these big shots, if he can get to some of his clinch game and smothering style, he could surely slow Damian down and eventually pull away in the second and third rounds, which is why at minus 260, I'm not too hot on Damian. The round 1 KO prop currently sits around plus 250 for Damian, and I think that's probably the better way to go rather than taking his chalk, because if this fight does reach round 2 and round 3, that probably means that Schultz's cardio and wrestling style will have caught up to Damian, and that will lead to Schultz eventually finding a late finish of his own. But in terms of an official prediction, I am going to go with Damian Pinas. I think he gets that round 1 knockout, and I think a lot of it comes from him banging on Schultz early and finding that first round KO. So give me Damian by knockout.